Ahoy, ahoy, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The O Show. I'm O, and I'm here for your amusement. Okay, I have another O positive review, everyone. And today, we are going to talk about the movie, The Beverly Hillbillies. Ooh, it's the Beverly Hillbillies. Y'all, like, this is another one of my favorite movies growing up in the 90s. I took this movie for granted, along with some other ones. But this is a movie that was on all the time. So, you know, it was on, I watched it. It was on, I watched it. So I never bought it. And this is why I hate streaming. Because I have HBO, so I don't have any other cable channel. But there was this one day I was like, man, I haven't watched the Beverly Hillbillies in a long time, and it's nowhere to be found. So I had to go and buy the DVDs from somewhere. I had to wait for the price to go down because whoever was selling this child, I was not paying that crazy price. But I finally got my hands on it, and my life is complete. But, yes, I'd like to talk about this movie because it is so much fun. And it is, if you don't know, it's based off of a 1960s, I forgot what year it started, TV show of the same name that was actually pretty funny. I used to watch reruns of it in the 80s along with everything else that was rerunning. So, with that said, this movie is not to be taken serious, okay? Like, no. Don't take it seriously. Yeah, so let's talk about the Beverly Hillbillies. So the movie starts off with Ellie Mae. She is the daughter of the Clampett family, and she is played by Erica. This lady. I never know how to say her last name. But yeah, so we have Ellie Mae, and she's a big old tomboy, okay? So we see her getting some honey from a beehive, and then she sees a bear. And she loves to wrestle. Again, she's a tomboy, so she wrestles the bear. So right off the bat, you already know the movie's going to be crazy because we're not even 5 minutes in. There's a man in a bear costume already. So you're like, okay, here we go. And then we see a scene with Granny, and Granny is making her elixir, and she's helping the town folk with things. The Granny is played by Cloris Leachman. And then we get the head of the household, Mr. Jed Clampett. And one day Jed is shooting for some food. Wait, how's the song go? Gonna listen to a story about a man named Jed, a poor mountaineer trying to keep his family fed. And then one day he was shooting at some food, and up from the ground came a bubbling crude. Is that how it goes? So, yes, that's exactly what is happening. So, Jed is out with his dog hunting, and Jed is played by the late, great Jim Varney. So, he's shooting at a rabbit, hits the ground, strikes oil. So, some business people come out, and they're like, you are sitting on the biggest oil claim like in American history, and we are going to pay you $1 billion.
$100 billion.
Now, I might forget to mention this later, but one of the things they keep saying through this movie, now that I'm like older, I guess, now that I have to pay attention so I can explain things to you guys. So, he is a billionaire, right? But remember, you gotta take like taxes out, and there's like some expenses that's happening later in this movie. But then they keep saying like, the Clampetts are billionaires, the Clampetts are billionaires. But I think they're like technically high millionaires, right? Because if you pay me $1 billion, I'm not a billionaire at the end of the day. Anyway, so we also meet Jethro, who is Jed's nephew, played by a really young Diedrich Bader. Now, you guys, I think this is like Diedrich Bader's I think this was his premiere movie. Like when he was acting, I think he was on stage and stuff like that. But his first movie, I believe, is this. But why is Diedrich Bader so cute? Like, I forgot how cute he was in this movie. He's just adorable as his character. So his family's like, you need to move to Beverly Hills because Ellie Mae, tomboy, needs to learn how to wear dresses and be more refined, and Jed's like, okay, well, you know what? I want to find a wife, get Ellie a new mom, and we're gonna move to Beverly Hills. So he signs the paper, and he moves his family to Beverly. Wait, no. So the next thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire. The kin folks said, Jed, move away from there. Said California is the place you want to be. And he packed up his rags and he moved to Beverly Hills, that is. Swimming pools and movie stars. Alright, so anyway, they packed up and they moved to Beverly Hills. Alright, now, while they're driving, we get some cutaway scenes to this bank. And we meet Mr. Drysdale, who is played by Dabney Coleman, and Miss Jane Hathaway, which is played by Lily Tomlin. So now that the Clampetts are rich, their money is being put into this bank, and Mr. Drysdale is the person that's gonna be over the money. What the hell is Hathaway? Is she like an assistant? I don't know if they ever like say what her role is, but I guess she's like his right-hand man or something. I don't know. But also in the office, there is Rob Schneider, and he is playing a character named Tyler. Now, this whole Tyler thing, like, he is sitting at his desk. He's eavesdropping on Mr. Drysdale's conversations with this little, like, intercom thing, which is so weird. Like, are you directed straight to one office? Because later on he uses it to listen into someone else's office. But when you look at his intercom, it looks like it just turns on and off. Like, and he's doing it in front of everyone. Like, he's supposed to be sneaky, but he doesn't work in an office. He works in a cubicle. So there's people all around who can see and listen to what you're doing. So anyway, there's this whole scene where he causes this mess, and but it's really funny because at the end of this scene, if you look at the background, a lot of shit is back to normal. Like, I don't know if they filmed it out of order or what. Like, you do see people pushing the cubicle walls back up. But I mean, like, after all that shit fell apart, you just can't just push something back up. Like, you gotta, where's the drill? Like, is it snapping in place? Like, the cart that this lady fell on is all of a sudden, like, gone, and a new cart is walking by. The floor is not wet anymore. You guys, we're still like 10 minutes into this movie. And again, editing, because when we see the Clampetts, they're in California. And then we show Drysdale in his office, so you think it's like the morning time, but now, in the very next scene, Drysdale is at home looking for his wife. Like, is it the end of the day? Like, if they said something like, well, you know what, I'm going to go home now, or something, or, you know, let's deal with this tomorrow, or just whatever. How do we get to, like, his home all of a sudden? So I guess it's the end of the day. So the Clampetts drive in. They go to the house, which is still funny to me because Ellie Mae's reading directions on how to get to the house, but, like, how does she know how to read a map and all this stuff? She's like, I think I'm supposed to turn on here. This is the right address. Those people would have been lost like 20 times. Alright, so they get to the house. Hathaway is there. She thinks they're burglars, so she calls the cops. They come and arrest the family, and then Drysdale hears about it, and comes in. I don't know how he hears about it. He was like driving away at one point in the movie. I guess they called his car phone, I guess. I don't know. So Drysdale comes in, and then when the sergeant is reading off the names of the trespassers, he realizes that it's the Clampett family. So he's like, oh shit. And he fires Hathaway. But Jed's like, well, no, let's hire her back because she didn't know who we were and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, she did a good job. She was doing her job. So, this part where Tyler is, so Drysdale tells Tyler to stay away from these people, right? Like, oh, you want to be in charge of the money and do all this stuff? Like, no, stay away from the family. But he takes it upon himself to just go to the family anyway and introduce himself. So he doesn't know the Drysdales are having dinner with the Clampetts. So, of course, he's like, wait, ooh, shit, what the fuck? What are you doing here? You know what's funny? Like, again, editing. This is part where the Tyler character goes to kiss Ellie Mae's hand and she flips him. And then she stands him back up. But at one point, there's this cue table that's on the table. And it falls over. But then in the very next scene, like, the cue stick is up. Why, editing? Why? Okay, so then our last character, really part of the story, is Leah Thompson. And Leah Thompson is playing this person named Laura. And whenever Laura goes into her sneaky, like, alias, I guess, she becomes like Lorette. Because later on, we find that she's playing other characters to marry men and get their money, but she seems to be using the same first name, which I never understood. But whatever. So anyway, Leah Thompson, who is snatched, by the way, like, look how good she looks in this movie. So she is dating the Tyler character. So they're dating, but she gives him no play. And I guess the reason they're together is like she is the one that marries the men, and he's the one that has access to computers and funds, you know, since he works in the bank. They never really say, but I'm guessing that's what's happening between the two. So pretty much anytime he gets information from the bank about the Clampetts, he goes and tells Laura. So at one point, he mentioned like, they mentioned getting a French tutor to help refine Ellie Mae. So one day Leah Thompson shows up at the door dressed as a French tutor with a French accent. Talk about she's walking around door to door to see if anyone needs her services. And on top of that, she's a live-in French tutor. So, okay, we got to get her into the house somehow. So she meets Ellie, and another editing thing that always drove me crazy is how Ellie's in the pool, or what they like to call the cement pond. They do say funny things in this movie. But, I like how, like, one scene, like, her hair is wet, and then she's still in the pool, but then the next scene, like, her hair is dry. Like, shit like that just, oh my god! So anyway, she meets Ellie Mae, and then, you know, stuff happens.
I finally figured this game out, Spanky. Take this ball, you put it down this here gully. It rolls down yonder. Then you hurl yourself down this slippery gully and see how many of them there snake bashing clubs you can knock down before the ball gets there.
Oh, and speaking of errors, so after the Clampetts come out of jail and they're being sent back to the home, they're in this limo, and like Jethro is driving Drysdale's car and everyone else is in this limo. But like, it's so hard to not notice that these people are just running red lights. So I know when you're filming on the street, you have to shut the street down, film your scenes, and you get out there and open traffic back up. But if you look out the window, every single time they go through an intersection, the light's red. So you see them like creeping up to an intersection, light's red, but the limo's still going. And then if the limo just came from the intersection, you look and the light is red for the opposite like direction. And you can see like crew members like in the mirrors of the car. It's a mess. Alright, so then Jethro like somehow becomes vice president because he's like, can I be vice president? And Drysdale's like, yeah, sure, okay, because he wants to make them happy. Like, okay. So he's sharpening pencils at his desk because that's how they keep him busy. And so, so this is the scene where Tyler is now listening into his conversations with his magical, like, intercom. Like, how is he listening to these people? Who's his boss? Like, why is he just sitting there doing nothing? So anyway, he overhears some things because they keep bringing up the fact that Jed wants to get married. So he now knows what to have Lorette do in the house to kind of get more closer and closer to Jed. So stuff like that's happening.
And all women know happiness is hard to find.
Excuse me?
Happiness.
Oh, happiness.
And speaking of Jethro, like, again, why is Diedrich Bader so damn cute? Like, what is this thirst trap right here, y'all? Like, who, what? It's super distracting.
Miss Jane said a big fancy car would be more suiting to my personality, so I'm fixing on making one out of my truck.
So then we're back at the job, and Hathaway is typing on this computer, and now like her and Jethro start flirting. Well, she's more flirting with him, and he's just dumb. But seriously, this is the part where she's like typing and she's talking to him, and he doesn't know what the hell she's saying. But if you look at the monitor, there's nothing happening. There's literally one screen where she could have just had Microsoft Word up. I don't even remember if Microsoft Word was a thing back in '93. But did I mention this movie was made in 1993? But yeah, she's typing and there's nothing happening. Why? The camera is pointed right at this computer. Like, why is nothing being typed? And you have the nerve to be typing without even looking at the keyboard. So I need to see some words like coming out.
And selecting the field values through the use of embedded commands.
Miss Jane, I have no idea what you just said.
Alright, so then Drysdale throws Jed a birthday. His birthday's coming up, and there's this big fancy party, which is really confusing because who are all these people? There's a whole shit of people in here who Jed does not know. And who are these people? Anyway, it's like they just all got dressed up to go to this birthday party for someone they didn't know. Like, are they just there because he's well, in their eyes, a billionaire, but like no one's talking to him or anything. So we get a cool little cameo by Dolly Parton, who sings a fun little song. And it was really cute because it was kind of like a reunion with Dolly and Lily Tomlin because they both starred in the hilarious movie 9 to 5. So at the party, Jed decides he's going to make an announcement that he's going to marry Lorette because Lorette has Jed thinking that Ellie Mae wants her to be her mother, and then she also has Ellie Mae thinking that Jed wants her to be his wife. So, you know, her scheme works, and they announce it, and some people are like, yay, and some people are like, Now, this is what absolutely drives me nuts about this movie. Suddenly, the rest of the movie shifts to wedding planning, right? Like, Hathaway is now in charge of everything, and they're getting this done, they're getting that done, stuff is coming in. And then someone even says, like, well, the wedding's in, like, 2 days. But, like, there's no timestamp or anything. Like, when you watch this movie, it feels like everything is happening within, like, the same week. It's just, like, there's no season. Well, I mean, they're in California, so won't necessarily be, like, a big season change. But there's no, like, decorations, like, any holidays that come up you can kind of tell that time is going by. So they have this birthday party, and all of a sudden, it's like 2-3 days later, he's supposed to be getting married to this lady. So now they have to have, like, well, I think they wait until like the day of the wedding to fly all the hillbillies from Arkansas. So Granny is talking to Jethro's mom, and she's like, invite the family, but don't invite this side of the family and all this other stuff. And then we're introduced to Jethrine, right? So Jethrine is Jethro's twin sister, who of course is played by Diedrich Bader. This tall ass girl.
Jethrine, your Uncle Jed's getting married.
Always cry at weddings.
Oh, now, honey.
I do.
Alright, so anyway, Granny is like playing around with her elixirs and tonics and stuff, and then she overhears Tyler and Lorette talking, and then she catches them kissing. So she's like, I knew you were a hussy.
I informed Jed! The wedding will be off! Let's get her! Whoa!
So they run after her, they catch her, and they drive her off and put her into this retirement home, right? So now Hathaway's like, ain't that weird that Granny hasn't been around? And they were like, no, she did that when I married her daughter. She showed up like 2 days later. But of course Hathaway's like, I suspect foul play. So she goes to the cops, and the cops are like, well, the family don't care. Like, why are you caring? But then he says, like, well, go talk to this detective. So then we get this Barnaby Jones, like, scene. And this man is like, yes, I've been digging, and look, I got all these photos of this lady. Her name was Lorette this, and Lorette that, and Lorette this, and she's married, like, 4 other men, and blah, blah, blah. And I found the lady. She's being held against her will at this retirement home. Where did this guy do all this sleuthing? Like, it's been like a day. When did he leave the office to do all this investigation work? I don't understand. How did he find out that Granny was in the retirement home? No sense. No sense whatsoever. Hathaway calls the house and tells Tyler, who answers the phone because he's not supposed to be there, but of course he is. And she's like, tell Drysdale, stop the wedding. So of course Tyler's like, okay, and he doesn't. He says like, oh, Hathaway can't make it, so on with the wedding. So anyway, the wedding is going on, and the whole family shows up. They're parking cars on the lawn because, of course, that's going to come up later. Oh, wait, no. Well, before we get to that. So Hathaway, what you doing? Huh? You gonna show everyone your haircut? Did you get a haircut? Alright, so Hathaway gets into this disguise and goes into the retirement home and is able to gain access to Granny, who just had like electric shock therapy. And so she gives her some tonic and then she busts her out, right? But the thing about this scene is like whenever Granny drinks her tonic, she like has super strength, right? She can run faster, she has whatever. And in this scene, she just starts running fast, right? But why is it that Hathaway is running fast too? Like, wouldn't Granny just run past her in the hallway? She didn't drink any of the tonic, so like... And then they go through this door that says like, fire exit, like stay off or something. But I feel like, is there like a deleted scene or something? Because the camera is just focusing on this door with this sign. And you're like, oh, stay out the fire escape. What's going to happen? The fire escape's going to like fall down while they're going down, or they're going to get stuck on it. But nope, nothing comes from this door. So like, why did they just cover this up and just say exit? They could just say exit and it would have been fine. But you make it seem like something's going to happen. So nothing happens. Oh, that still drives me crazy just thinking about it. Alright, so now they're in the car. They're driving to the wedding. The wedding's happening. Now Hathaway and Granny can't get in at the gate because of the staff, the security. So she's like, well, we're going to find another way. So earlier, Hathaway told Jethro, you should get like a big fancy car. But Jethro doesn't want to get rid of his car. So he just puts like big, huge, like tires. What are those cars called? Like those monster trucks. He puts those big monster truck like wheels on the car. And so she gets into the car and starts it up. So I guess Jethro leaves the keys in the car. I don't know. So that's how they get into the wedding. And then of course, like I said earlier, they were mentioning like they were parking the cars on the lawn. Well, now the cars are getting crushed under this big truck that they're driving. So they get there just in time to stop the wedding because Tyler now has this laptop. And I don't remember we had wireless laptops in 1993. Maybe we did. I mean, it is a really big, bulky thing. But he's literally like sitting in the crowd among all these people walking by. Even Jethreen sits down next to him. I don't know why she just didn't look over to see what the screen says. They'd be like, what you doing, motherfucker? But like, he has this big orange letters. Big big orange letters that literally say like, we're about to steal $1 billion. Press start or whatever, enter to continue or to complete. Right? Why are you not hiding in the bushes, Tyler? Like, I feel like if I'm going to steal someone's money, I will be behind a tree, being like, are they done? Are they done? Okay, boop. Because you obviously don't need to be close. I don't know. There's no Wi-Fi you're connecting to. Oh my gosh. And remember, he's transferring $1 billion. Like, who's paying for this wedding? Who's paying for all this other stuff? Like, again, taxes. Like, do they have $1 billion? I'm pretty sure the bank ain't paying for this money. If you're getting married, like, I need that money to come out of your $1 billion account. So anyway, yeah. So the wedding is stopped, and Tyler and Lorette make a run for it. But she's like, you know what? If no one can have his money, like, wait, if I can't have his money, no one will. Line. So she goes, let's just push the button anyway, right? But then Hathaway gets there, takes one of the Hillbillies' rifles and shoots the computer, which is also funny because when he sets the computer back up, he's doing all this typing, and he literally gets to the screen. It just says, like, press enter to continue, but he's still typing. I felt like he would have did, like, an error, but he goes to, like, another screen, like, it's just like that scene where Hathaway is typing and nothing's happening on the screen. Like, y'all had two jobs. You just make it look like someone's typing something, and then if you're going to do all this, make it make sense. Alright, so the movie's over. There's this scene where, like, okay, you got Jed's dog and Hathaway's dog, and you see the dogs together, like, just maybe like 2 scenes, 3 at the most, maybe. The dogs are together, but then all of a sudden at the wedding, they look under this table, and the poodle gave birth to puppies, which just makes no sense because you didn't know your dog was pregnant. You already said earlier in the movie that each purebred baby is like $3,000, but how the hell did this poodle give birth to poodles and hounds? None of them are mixed. Called shenanigans on that. The dogs are like walking around, their eyes are open. This dog gave birth to puppies who are already walking and talking and looking and blinking. Y'all didn't need to y'all could just let these dogs out. Just have the hound, because the hound is part of the show. We don't need the poodle. Alright, so we have some bloopers while they are showing the cast at the end of the movie. At the end, they do the famous wave goodbye, just like they did on the TV show with Granny doing all this because she's tired. Yeah, so that's the Beverly Hillbillies. It's a fun movie. It's a fun watch. There are some funny parts in it here and there. Some funny lines. It's a fun movie. It's a fun movie. Don't take it serious. But like I said, like, the timing is so quick. Like, when you watch this movie, you literally get the feeling that all of this is taking place within like a week. And sometimes there'll be one day they're at the office, then there's another scene like somewhere else, and then the next day they're back in the office, and you're just like, well, is it really the next day? I don't know. That's just me. So, if I had to rate the Beverly Hillbillies, you know what? I'm gonna give it a 4. Now, yes, I do love this movie too. Like, it's fun, but you know, there's so many things just wrong with it. I gotta fault it somewhere. So this one really truly is a 4-shot rating. Okay, I'm giving you 4. Plus, that damn Diedrich Bader is killed. Alright, you guys. Cheers. Okay. Alright, so let me know if you've ever seen the Beverly Hillbillies. What was your favorite part? What did you like? There's other things about this movie too that like other edits that I forgot to mention. But are there other ones that you caught? Because there's a lot. Like, where did the monkey come from? There's this chimpanzee in this movie, right? When they moved to California, the chimp is nowhere to be found. But when they get here, I can see them getting other animals, but they have this chimp that just seems like he was already part of the family. So, where did he come from? Alright, you guys. What was I saying? Huh? Right, so, did I tell them to leave a comment? I don't know. Alright, so please like and subscribe to this video. And, like this video, subscribe to the channel. And, I will see you all in the next episode. So, until then, TTFN.
Why do you reckon they got 2 sets of steps?
That's easy. One's for going up, the other's for going down.